It would have made me feel good, I should say.
Let's talk a little bit about indie wrestling flashbacks question, because it's another sort of Eric Bischoff career question. Had you not been selected to be the WCW executive vice president in 1993, what would have been your next move? Stay with WCW, try the WWF, indies, something outside of wrestling. I guess if we were to go back and say in this alternate universe, you're going to be the C Squad announcer, someone else is going to get bumped up, whether that's Tony Schiavone or Keith Mitchell or Jim Ross or someone else, but you're not going to find yourself in that seat. Do you think you would have stuck it out in wrestling? Would you have tried something else? What would your career have looked like, Eric?
Quite a bit different. And this is not even a, hypothetical. This is an actual. Keep in mind the timeline. Bill Watts is in charge. I'm working under Bill Watts. I'm also developing my very first television show, which I subsequently sold to Fox Children's Network, which gave me this ridiculous perception that just coming up with ideas for TV shows and selling them is really not that hard. I could do this like 3 or 4 times a month, right? I had this distorted idea of how easy it was going to be for me to leave WCW because of Bill Watts. I talked about this in my book. I'd already made up my mind. I was out the door. I was like the Beverly Hillbillies, man. I was going to load up the truck and move to Beverly because there was gold in them there hills. I just got a taste of it. Came up with an idea. Built a little gimmick set. Went in, pitched this lady by the name of Molly Miles, who was the president of Fox Kids TV at the time, which no longer exists. But she was, and then she later became president of Universal Studios down in Florida, which is why we moved our production over there, by the way. Thank you, Molly. I'm loyal to the people that are loyal to me. That's how this shit works. So I was already out the door. I told Lori, and she was supportive of me. I don't want to work for this bucket-headed bastard anymore. This is stupid, what he's doing. His vision of where wrestling needs to go is where it was 25 years ago. And that ain't going to work. And I don't want to be here when it doesn't. So I'd made up my mind already. Now, right about the same time, Bill Watts gets fired. Bill Shaw comes in. Within a week or two, said, Ted wants an executive producer to oversee WCW television because this is a television company. Well, shit. I just spent 6 months coming up with an idea and refining it. I pitched it and sold it. Maybe I could be that guy. So I put my name in the hat. So the real life answer is I was already on my way gone, and I was going to LA, and I was not going to WWF or any indie, not for any other reason, not like, oh, I would never do that. No. It's because I thought erroneously that it's easy for a guy like me. Watch this. No. Thank goodness it didn't happen, because I would have crashed and burned and come back with my tail between my legs. You know what's cool about Blue Chew? Now, this is what I understand based on what little I've researched and read. But do you know how, like, ED products like this came to be?
No.
It came out of research and development of a medication designed to prevent heart attacks because it increases blood flow, right? Helps everything get its blood, which is the exact opposite of what a heart attack does. So that's, and while they were developing it, they went, one of the side effects is these people were giving it to her just walking around with raging heart-ons. So it was like, well, yeah, blood pressure medicine, there's a lot of that, but there's not a heart-on pill out there. Boom. That's when it started and how it started. It's kind of like the etymology of pharmaceuticals. Fun to watch.
Blue Chew really works. Go try it. You'll be glad you did. Hey, let's talk a little bit about a hypothetical WCW. Zeus says, who would have been the top star for WCW that never wrestled there? So the idea being, if you get your hands on WCW and you're in control and you've purchased the thing, Was there someone that you had your eyes on who wasn't already under the WCW umbrella that you felt like, hey man, I could make that guy a top star in WCW?
No, because the thought process was scaling down and not recruiting, kind of like thinning the. Oh, this sounds horrible. Managing your assets by thinning the herd. There was a lot of people under contract that were really developmental. They really weren't star potential anytime in the next 3 years with proper creative and proper everything and proper public relations. They were 2 or 3 years away. There's a lot of them and they were really good, but they weren't audience drivers. So it was more about, man, we got to thin out some of that herd. We also have to thin out some of the older herd, because it is what it is. Number one, they're expensive, and number two, they're limited. So it was more scaling down than it was any thought of, I wonder if we could get this guy. Or I got a phone call from, oh man, I could make this work. There was zero of that. Zero.
Well, now hang on. I do remember you and I having a conversation. We recorded a bonus episode that never aired once, and we talked about, if you did relaunch, and one of the things we sort of fantasy booked was Rob Van Dam and Sting in the main event, and you had Joey Styles and maybe Jerry Lawler doing commentary. How close do you think that would have ever been to fruition? Do you think Rob Van Dam, who at that point, had clearly had his contract breached by ECW, but he was not yet in the WWE, do you think you would have been a Rob Van Dam fan and tried to promote him as one of the top stars?
Yeah, no doubt. But it wasn't like there was no effort beyond. Now, I hadn't met with Rob, and as you're describing this, I'm trying to zero in on the exact timeline, because a lot of things happened very quickly within a short frame of time, like 3 months, 6 months. So, and I don't want to get it wrong, because but I did talk to Rob. I think I may have met with Rob twice actually, and really liked Rob. One of the times I met with Rob, I think it was right about the time that we were talking about acquisition. Hadn't closed it, hadn't put a budget on it, just early conversations with Brian Badal. Before we talked about strategy even, very initial conversations. And I think it was right about that time that Rob was either already in LA or living there or whatever, but somehow we connected, and Rob and I met at Mandalay Studios, which is in Jason Hervey had an office in Mandalay Studios because he was working there at the time. And that's where I met Rob. I may have talked to him just anticipating that there was going to be an acquisition, but there was never like, all right, I need to get Rob Van Dam. We weren't in that. Would have been great. I've been wanting him for a long time because I liked his in-ring style. He brought a legitimate martial arts aspect to his ring work. He wasn't a gimmick martial artist or somebody that, got their yellow belt at the local YMCA and 15 years ago when they were 8. Now they're out there pretending they're doing, TV karate. That shit's horrible. There was a lot of that, but Rob's stuff was crisp. It was legit. It's the first thing I noticed. I can tell somebody that really understands the mechanics of throwing a kick and somebody that's just trying to get on YouTube. So I always wanted Rob. He would have been great. I like Rob a lot. Always have.
Don't we all love summer vacation, relaxing, laying out by the pool, barbecues, hitting the beach, doing, nothing? Well, how about a summer vacation from your house payments? With SaveWithConrad.com, you can do just that. Reduce your monthly payments by making the equity you built up in your home work for you. You can roll together those high interest rate credit cards into one lower monthly payment, and perhaps access some of that newfound equity to turn your house into your dream home with no money out of pocket. And how about this? You get to skip your next 2 house payments. That's right. You won't have to make your June or your July house payment. You're done until August 1st. Go right now to savewithconrad.com. Let my team run the numbers for you for free. There's no obligation, and if we can't help you save some cash, we won't waste your time. And did I mention we're offering a 3-year guarantee right now? That's right. That means if at any point interest rates improve over the next 3 years, you get a free refi. That's right. No new lender fees from us. So you get to save money now without wasting money later when the rates improve on a whole second set of closing costs. Why not go to savewithconrad.com and get a guarantee? Save money now and save money later with your friend in the mortgage business. That's me, Conrad Thompson at savewithconrad.com. Shoot me an email at conrad@savewithconrad.com. Give us a call at 888-425-0105 or get yourself a quick quote. Even talk to a live person right now at savewithconrad.com. NMLS number 2129, equal housing lender. Let's take a summer vacation from house payments at savewithconrad.com.